Today, we're going to explore a simple but really profound story. It's all about patience, discipline, and the quiet power of just showing up every single day. Let's get into what's called the gardener's discipline. You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. You start a new project, maybe a new habit, you're full of all this energy and excitement, you're putting in the work, but nothing. The results you were hoping for just aren't showing up. And it makes you wonder, why does real progress always feel so agonizingly slow? Well, to answer that, let me tell you a little story. It's about a young, ambitious gardener. They started out with what they thought was the perfect seed and this huge vision of a magnificent plant. But, as you can imagine, that vision was about to get a serious reality check. The routine was the same every single morning. Wake up, rush out to the garden, and just inspect the soil with these hopeful eyes. But every day ended with that same quiet letdown. The ground just looked the same, still, empty. And that initial excitement, that was starting to turn into some serious doubt. And isn't this exactly where our minds go when we don't get that immediate feedback? The gardener's inner voice just got super critical. First, they blamed the seed, the tools, and then, eventually, they blamed themselves. And that feeling of personal failure, that's where so many amazing projects just wither away. But right when our gardener was on the verge of just throwing in the towel, they remembered some advice from an old mentor, this wise person they called Coach Miller. And it wasn't some flashy, complicated secret. It was just a simple, powerful rule that was about to change everything. And this right here, this is the heart of what we're talking about today. The gardener's discipline isn't about one heroic all-out day of work. No, it's about deeply understanding that real, lasting growth comes from those small, almost unnoticeable actions that you repeat consistently over time. It's basically compound interest, but for your own potential. This was Coach Miller's rule. That's it. So simple, right? No crazy strategies, no secret formulas, just a simple command. Practice every day. The brilliance of this is that it takes all your focus off the outcome, which, let's be honest, you can't control, and puts it squarely on the action, which you absolutely can. So with this new little mantra in their head, the gardener's whole approach just flipped. All that anxiety about checking for results was replaced by this calm focus on just doing the work. The new routine was almost laughably simple. The goal wasn't make the seed grow anymore. The goal just became water the seed today. So, step 1, show up. Step 2, do the one essential thing. And then, crucially, step 3, walk away. By letting go of that need to constantly check for results, the gardener was finally free from the weight of the outcome. They found all this power in just completing that one daily task. And this is where things get really interesting. By letting go of the need to see progress, the gardener actually created the perfect conditions for it to happen. They started to get that the most important work was happening completely out of sight, deep down under the surface. Just look at this shift in mindset here. On the left, you've got that outcome-focused brain, right? It's filled with impatience, anxiety, and just frustration. But by shifting to a process-focused mindset, the gardener found patience, trust, and this incredible sense of calm. You're not fighting for a result anymore. You're just executing the plan. And I think that's the big secret, isn't it? Success isn't just about what you can see. It's about building that strong foundation. Kind of like the roots of a plant spreading out silently underground, our consistent efforts are always compounding, building that support system for future growth, long before we ever see the first little sprout. So, as you can probably guess, this brings our story to where it was always headed. The gardener just kept up the simple routine. Show up, water, walk away. Day after day, no matter what. Just trusting that the process was doing its thing. It wasn't a day with any extra effort. It wasn't marked by anything special. It was just another ordinary morning of following that simple, quiet routine. There it was, a tiny speck of green finally pushed through the soil. And look, this wasn't a miracle, it wasn't luck, it was the natural, totally unavoidable result of consistent daily discipline. It had been growing the whole time, just out of sight. So, what's the big takeaway from our gardener's journey? Well, first, discipline isn't some trait you're born with, it's something you build one day at a time. Second, you gotta let go of the anxiety about the outcome and find your power in the process. And finally, you just have to trust that those small, consistent efforts are always adding up to something that will inevitably grow. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. We all have these seeds we want to plant, goals we want to hit, skills we want to build. So the only question left is, what seed are you going to commit to watering patiently and consistently starting tomorrow?